there are wars. And then there are wars that last so long they become the air that people breathe. But for the inhabitants of the twin worlds of New Genesis and Apokolips, war is more than background noise. It's a cycle, a machine. Its gearwork extends from the throne rooms of gods to the wastelands of hell. At the center of Apokolips, in a fortress made of agony and fire, sits Darkseid. His word is law, his desire dominance over all existence. Prophecy has it that his undoing would come not from a stranger, but from his own bloodline. Not just prophecy, but irony too. Because his greatest challenger is not some upstart from another universe. It's Orion, his own biological son. Raised in the light of New Genesis, his nature set against his nurture since the moment of his birth. This is their story, Darkseid versus Orion, the ultimate clash between father and son, tyrant and rebel, darkness and fire. Orion's journey began with a trade. In an uneasy truce, the infant sons of Highfather of New Genesis and Darkseid of Apokolips were exchanged to guarantee peace. For Orion it meant growing up on New Genesis, taught by Highfather to master himself, to reign in the fury that throbbed in his veins. But that rage the mark of Darkseid was never far away. As Orion grew into adulthood, it became clear the prophecy that haunted Darkseid had substance. Orion was not only his physical equal, he was his psychological opposite. Where Darkseid craved order through destruction, Orion strove for justice, often through chaos. Battles between them were not just physical contests, but collisions of worldviews. In the bruised skies between Apokolips and New Genesis, they clashed, energy crackling as fists, beams, and ideas crossed. Darkseid, the master strategist, rarely fought directly, but against Orion, he made exceptions. The stakes were rarely just personal. Their battles shaped the fate of gods, mortals, and everything in between. One confrontation began above the ruins of an ancient world, Orion standing firm, the Astroharness humming beneath his feet. Darkseid descending, his eyes burning with the Omega effect, power curling at his fingertips. For Orion, the war was a test. Was he doomed to become what he hated, or could he define his own destiny? When their blows echoed across the universe, the answer remained uncertain. Some battles ended with Orion battered, forced to retreat, the anger inside him boiling dangerously close to Darkseid's own monstrous will. Others saw Darkseid wounded, his granite calm cracked, but never broken. The closer Orion came to victory, the more Darkseid's schemes twisted in response. He'd send armies to harry Orion, unleash new horrors into the world, tempt his son to abandon mercy for violence. Each move was a lesson, each encounter a gambit. It all crescendoed in the ultimate confrontation. Apokolips trembled at their conflict. Darkseid, towering and implacable, issued terms, submit and rule beside him, as father and son, or perish. Orion, battered yet unbowed, refused. There was no place for compromise between light and darkness. The battle was brutal. Darkseid's Omega beams, capable of unmaking anything, seared the earth around them. Orion's raw fury matched them, his own power unchecked, even as he suffered wounds no mortal could survive. Their struggle was epic in scope, but intimate in pain. And then finally, it happened. The moment that prophecy had whispered of. Orion, guided by the teachings of Highfather, harnessed not just the violence within, but the compassion that came from his adopted home. In one monumental clash, he overcame Darkseid not by becoming him, but by transcending him. He felled the despot with a force that was equal parts anger and mercy. Some say that in that instant, Orion was on the verge of giving in to the rage, to finishing Darkseid forever, and in so doing, taking his place as the new tyrant. But that's not how the legend ends. Instead, Orion walked away. The war wasn't over, but he proved that fate isn't destiny, and that legacy can be defied. For Apokolips and for Orion, the cycle continued but changed. Darkseid would rise again, as darkness always does. Orion's struggle would never truly end. Yet for those who watched the heavens, a new possibility flickered. It was hope not just that the war could be survived, but that it could, one day, be broken completely. Darkseid versus Orion, struggle as old as myth itself. Written not just in the stars above, but in the choices made by those trapped beneath them.